Hello, World News. Thursday. United States of America to start. Good. US foreclosures kicking the can down the road, and that's the theme. Kicking the can down the road. The dark red counties in the map there of the United States are the worst ones. But if you notice in the two grey inlaid graphs, one is bank repossessions of homes nationally, and that's stepping back up again after the efforts to have it stop. And the one to the left is bank repossessions of homes in New York State, and they're really down compared to the national ones. Surprisingly, it might seem, but they all go through the courts apparently, and it takes a long time to get them through the courts. And it seems that there's over 60 years worth of backlog of foreclosures in the courts for New York State. So presumably you can live in your house without paying, I don't know, something like that. But 60 years backlog, somebody will be making out quite well out of that. And other people that won't be, of course. Right, let's move on. PragCap. The key to the balance sheet recession is housing. And he writes, I hate to oversimplify things, but sometimes it's easier to grasp an issue when we focus on its primary cause. In the case of the balance sheet recession, there is one primary cause: housing debt. Same in the UK. According to the New York Fed, 74% of all consumer debt is mortgage related, so it's no surprise that a housing bubble and its subsequent bust would lead to a balance sheet recession. And as housing has remained depressed, the private sector has remained depressed. This is also not surprising given the tremendous headwinds that still confront the housing market in the US. Moody's recently elaborated on the situation, and from the Moody's elaboration we have this chart. In orange it's household and business debt excluding mortgages, but that's only 25% of the household and business debt is not mortgages. 75% plus is the green line, so that's the one with a real whack to it. Household and business mortgage debt. Household and business, surprisingly, business debt is nearly 3/4, real estate concerned as well. And as we can see, the green line is below zero on the household and business mortgage debt. In other words, it's shrinking. So the balance sheet recession continues. Right, this is a long-term chart going back to 1980, and the black line is the private sector debt as a percentage of GDP, and it just keeps growing, or just did keep growing until recently, where it has just turned down. Now this chart is only to 2009, so there's even a bit more turned down on that black. But the blue line is the Fed funds target rate, the inflation, the interest rate, starting in 1980, and Volcker bringing it down and down after inflation had been crushed. We bump into the savings and loan crisis, where the interest rate is brought down and down till things recover. The long-term capital management bailout, which needed interest rate to come down. The tech bubble 2001, interest rate came down. Subprime bubble, interest rate hit the floor in late 2008 and is still on the floor. This is just to show that when bad things happen, the central bank comes along and gives out or encourages the taking of cheap money. The taking of cheap money also encourages malinvestment of that cheap money, because what you get cheap you don't take so much care in the spending of. Over to Europe, and this op-ed by Gideon Rachman who's one of the bigger hitters in the Financial Times, with political union cannot fix the euro. It's not a particularly marvellous article, but I thought the picture was quite good. And it's basically euro extra strong, you're drunk, have some more. And that's what Greece is getting. You're drunk on debt, have some more. But there's no other option except to give them more debt. Merkel has caved under the pressure, and there will be no haircuts for the bondholders. She's cracked on that one, and there will be more money for Greece. Ultimately, they know they won't pay it back, but it's by far the best decision, and it's the best decision for Germany as well. In fact, it's a bargain for Germany, even if they had to pay the whole of the debt, and no other country did. It's still good value for the German nation as a whole, but explaining that to them is rather tricky. German ZEW indicator of sentiment, a balance of opinion. This is business sentiment in Germany, and as you can see, it was quite high at the start of this year, but all this year it has been coming down and down. They see business turning down in Germany, which would be quite good if it does. Quite frankly, stupid, but it would be good if it did, because that would mean if Germany had a turn down, the ECB would be likely to keep their base rate low, and the lower it is, the better it is for the periphery, and the periphery need all the help they can get. This is the European Central Bank's balance sheet at its inauguration, its consolidated opening financial statement, where it kicked off with 700 billion euros on its balance sheet. The next one is June 2001, so 10 years ago and a couple of years in, and it's at 819 billion. This is more up to date. This is a year ago, and it had gone through $2.1 trillion at the European Central Bank's balance sheet. And this is the most up-to-date one. A year after that, now, the latest one at 1.9. The ECB is actually shrinking its balance sheet, which is obviously not good for countries that need more liquidity. But it's only 2.1 trillion down to 1.9 trillion. But quand même. And this last one is just the European interest rate, the fixed rate level there. We can see it's 3.75 and it's come down to 1.25. And if it goes up to something like 3-4, if Germany was overheating, one size fits Germany, that would crush any last life there was in the periphery. The periphery is going to get crushed anyway, to the point where they ultimately will default. But putting the interest rate up will only make it happen quicker. The whole euro has been a political decision taken 40-50 years ago, and the meme got into the hub in Brussels, and any politician or functionary that got to work there was imbued with the meme of the great vision of the United States of Europe. Other people, the democratic peoples of the countries represented, didn't go to the hub, so didn't get the meme. They don't understand what the politicians and functionaries are up to. They are not on board with the project. And nor were economists that weren't there as well, telling them from the outside that the euro cannot work. The people in the hub in Brussels were so soaked with the glory of their project that they couldn't listen to either the people that they were meant to be representing or experts that were telling them that the things that they were doing were not going to work, because they are totally fixed on what they are doing. And this is the problem with the rioters in Spain and Greece, because ask them, well, what do you want? They don't know. But the politicians in the central hub in Brussels know exactly what they want, and they will do what they want. That's it. Bye.